Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for Harvest Jack, so let's get into it. Alrighty, Harvest Jack was introduced to the community via this fusion that is going on, and I can't actually show you it because I've already fused him, which is how I acquired Jack. He can be pulled from shards, but there was also like a 20-something day event that went on for fusing him. It's actually still going on at the time that I'm making this video. But yeah, that's how I acquired him. I was able to complete the fusion, and because of that, I've got him all maxed out and tested, so I'm ready to kind of speak about how good he is and kind of do a guide on those of you that are wondering if you should fuse him and where he's useful and all of that. So first off, let's go ahead and pull up Harvest Jack. He's going to be in the Undead Hordes. He's the Spirit Legendary up here. An HP kind of support type character. Okay, so first off, the aesthetics are very cool. He does a great job of fitting the Halloween theme, so thumbs up there. A base speed of 102 is pretty good, so thumbs up there. And we've got an A1 that attacks one enemy 3 times. We love multi-hit A1s. Each hit has a 25% chance of stealing one random buff from the target. Each hit also has a 25% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn if the target has no active buffs. So we've got some guaranteed, or at least usually guaranteed value. This chance increases to 100% if all buffs were stolen from the target. Damage based on HP. That is worth noting. I really like champions that are based on HP and defense because we can scale both their sustain, toughness, and their damage at the same time. A2 is Dreams to Ash, an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown that places a block buffs debuff for 2 turns on targets under fear debuffs. It's also going to remove any increased attack buff from the target and replace it with a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Also remove continuous heal buff from the target and replace it with a poison debuff for 2 turns. The number of poisons is going to be equal to the number of continuous heals removed, also based on HP. A very cool ability there, and especially if you pair him in tandem with people that are placing fears, this Dreams to Ash ability can bring an insane amount of value in like, you know, trash mob waves. Lord of Terror is the A3. It's going to be an AoE on a 4-turn cooldown with a 75% chance of placing a true fear debuff for 1 turn. We can book that up to a 100% chance. Also place a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns and decrease each target's turn meter by 15% if the true fear buff is debuff is placed, which is going to be 100%, and as long as we have good accuracy, that should be proccing fairly often. Has a 75% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn if the true fear debuff is not placed, also based on HP. Very good ability again there. Lots of things going on and lots of value, and true fear is an insane debuff. Alright, then we've got a passive here that when attacked decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn. That is a really good passive. It's going to be some consistent value, and I really like the design of that passive. All right, so obviously an HP champion. He's gonna, you know, have a really good HP score here. Spirit Affinity, I like that. Spirit Affinity can be kind of a tough role to get, and in general, I really like the design of the champion. There is one thing that really bothers me about him, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. But first, before I forget, I want to pull up this infographic that I always make for my champion guide. It's going to show you kind of the optimal sets to place on them, and then the masteries that I currently use, and also the grades here and all of that. Worth noting, the masteries can be wildly different based on you and how you use a champion and the team that you're placing them in. For Jack specifically, I'm going to be using him mainly for faction wars, and there's an argument to be made to go the defense route instead of the offense tree, and I may play around with that. So I think you definitely want to go the support tree, and then you kind of have to decide between defense and offense. I guess there's an argument to be made for both trees, and I'll probably experiment a little bit with both. So definitely take the masteries I'm using with a grain of salt, and kind of, you know, just use that as a launch point, but design your own masteries based off of what you need the champion for. To discuss the grades really quick, campaign is a B. I'll show you him farming the campaign because I have him kind of end game built and fully maxed out and all that. So I'll show you kind of what he's capable of. He's definitely not a good speed farmer, but he could do very well in helping you like 3-star the campaign, especially if they release like a nightmare campaign. He'll be handy to kind of duo with somebody to get those 3 stars. Clan Boss F, he brings basically 0 boss utility. All of his, debuffing utility is going to be versus trash mobs, and basically nothing he does works against the Clan Boss. The fear, the turn meter manipulation, none of that's going to work. So, I mean, he's an F. He doesn't really bring anything to that area of the game. Arena, he is an A. He's got that Lord of Terror ability that's very good. It can be a good kind of first cooldown to burst down in the arena, and a base speed of 102 makes him decent in the arena. Dungeons, A, and Faction Wars, A+. I mean, he's basically what you're looking for in Faction Wars. He's a Faction Wars carry for your undead team. Because remember, in Faction Wars, it's mostly trash mobs. It's very rare that you face a boss in Faction Wars. It's like every 7 levels or something. So it's mainly just waves of like the 4 or 5 mobs that you're going against. And he's exceedingly amazing in that role. He's going to be placing fears and block buffs and stealing buffs. So he's just insane for Faction Wars. A definite A+ there. Alrighty. Now, I want to talk about what bothers me with Jack, and who knows, by the time you watch this video, it may be fixed. So shout out to Plarium if they fix this, but there is a big problem with Jack, and it's why I actually currently have him on my legendary tier list way down here at 58th. He was way higher than this, but once I dove in and started testing him, I found out something about his playability on auto that really lowers his value as a champion. So okay, when we're using a champion, especially for like dungeons, which is where he is mainly used in, and a lot of people like to also auto in the arena, he has a problem where he prioritizes this Dreams to Ash ability. And this is exceedingly bad because he would be infinitely better if he prioritized Lord of Terror. If he did Lord of Terror first, this would attack all enemies, place a fear, then he could come around the next turn, use Dreams to Ash, and place a block buffs on everybody that he placed a fear on previously. So he would be way better of a champion if his AI prioritized his skills in the proper order. He should be doing Lord of Terror first, then Dreams to Ash, then his A1. But instead, he does Dreams to Ash and then Lord of Terror. So usually they design champions to prioritize their highest cooldown best ability. So it's very weird on Harvest Jack that they prioritize him on his Dreams to Ash. I will definitely bring this to their attention, and I hope they fix it in an upcoming patch. But so who knows, when you're watching this video, it might already be fixed. But my tier list is very fluid, and I will change him accordingly if this is ever addressed and his AI is kind of fixed and he starts prioritizing his abilities in the right order. So that is something I did want to mention for sure, and I will show you. Actually, first, let me pull up my Jack and show you kind of what I did here. All right, so Jack being a debuffer, it's going to be good to have lots of speed on him because we want him to be snapping those debuffs off on the enemy as often as possible. We have to be a little bit more careful with our speed if we're talking about a buffer because we want them to be buffing our team at the right time. But in terms of a debuffer, we generally want them to have really good speed. So he's going to pair well with speed set and HP sets. He's a good candidate for a shield set because we do want that in Faction Wars and Dungeons. It's nice to have at least one champion wearing a shield set. He's a good candidate for a shield set as long as you can keep his HP up and his speed at a pretty good clip. So yeah, normally on the main stats, we're just going to go with HP, and speed as kind of the main stats for his gear, and I kind of showed you the optimal sets as well. I also went over the Masteries and kind of explained what I was thinking there. I went first in my initial testing, I went with Eagle Eye, which is 50 accuracy, because he doesn't hit super hard, but his utility is not in his damage. Like, we don't say Bad Alcazar is bad because he doesn't hit hard. That's not where his utility is. So, yes, Harvest Jack does not hit super hard, but that's not where his utility is. His utility is in making sure he's placing those debuffs, those super impactful debuffs. So, because of that, I don't really need his damage. I'm not going to use him against the clan boss. So, I went with the extra accuracy just to make sure I'm landing those. And I started out with testing offense just to kind of see if he'd be usable as a damage dealer, and he hits okay, but he definitely doesn't hit hard. He would tend towards the soft side of hitting, but like I said, that's not where his value is. So I am going to test also, you know, the defense tree, and seeing if I can get a little bit of value out of that, because it can be handy for faction wars to have at least one champion going down the defense route and getting bulwark. So we'll see, and I'll do a little bit more testing down the road. But I wanted to get this guide out ASAP because he is currently a fusion. So now I'll kind of dive into some of the gameplay here, and I'll show you kind of what Jack's capable of as a campaign farmer. Let's pull this out, and let's just go here. Let's just put him solo. It'll be easier to kind of see what he's got here. It does really stink that he doesn't have an aura, because we're going to get that constant pop-up if we're using him in the campaign as our solo farmer. But see, there, and there he goes. He prioritized that Dreams to Ash instead of the Lord of Terror, and now he'll do the Lord of Terror here. So his AI is a little bit messed up and definitely not performing optimally. But we can see that he does okay as a campaign farmer. He doesn't hit ridiculously weak. I haven't even geared him to do a lot of damage, really. But he definitely doesn't hit super hard. So most of his utility comes out of placing those debuffs, which is why I really prioritized the accuracy. But we can see here, he's going to be, you know, like a 40-second campaign farmer. Because we got to remember, we got to add a few seconds if I had food with me. But he is capable of it. And he is excellent if you're looking in terms of like progressing in the campaign into, you know, like 3-starring certain levels. All right. So now I'll show you. Actually, let's do his grading here. I think that can be kind of a good thing to do. I haven't graded him yet, so let's go into the reviews and let's go through and just kind of rank Jack here. All right, so arena offense. I'm going to grade him as if his AI gets fixed. If he prioritizes the right ability, he's very good in the arena, so I'll give him a 4. In the arena, he's not like god tier. I mean, but I guess he almost could be if he does that right ability and places those fears. He's definitely a 4 or 5 in the arena. Currently, you know, with his auto, he would be much worse in the arena. All right, campaign again. We'll give him a 3. Fire Knight, he's got the multi-hit A1. But not a lot of utility against the boss, so we'll go 4. Clan boss is a definite 1. Dragon, kind of middle of the road, we'll give him a 3. Spirit Keep, his A1 removes buffs, which can be handy, but he doesn't have heal reduction or anything. He's good against the waves, so it'd be kind of a 3 or a 4. I'll give him a 4. Why not? Spider, I don't think gonna be super great. I'll give him a 3. Minotaur, I mean, he's okay. Definitely not amazing at it. He's good against the trash waves. Not a whole lot of boss utility, though, against the Minotaur. It'd be a 3 or a 4 again. I'll lean towards a 4. Force Keep, he's Spirit, so he does counter Force. So because of that, we'll give him a 4. Magic Keep, he's got the A1 that removes a buff, which is really good against the magic boss. But he is Affinity countered by magic, so I can't give him a 5. Because of that, I'll give him a 4. Ice Golem, he's pretty good, especially against the trash waves leading up to the boss. So again, we'll give him a 4. And in the Void Keep, he will do just fine. So, you know, the Void Keep, I'll give him a 5. And do they have the Arcane Keep here? They don't have the Arcane Keep here? I just noticed that. Interesting. Huh. Okay. So, yeah, that's kind of the grades there. And, yeah, that's kind of going to do it for everything I wanted to cover with Jack. If you're currently, you know, wondering about the fusion, I guess take into consideration what I've said. If his AI gets fixed, he'll be a very good champion. He will fill his role as a Faction Wars god and a dungeon wave, you know, like CC, crowd control, debuffer. He'll be very good in that role. So, but if his AI doesn't get fixed, he's going to kind of trend towards the bad side of things. So, if he gets fixed, he'll be really good in the arena and really good in dungeons. So I guess it's kind of up to you on if you have faith that Plarium will get his AI fixed, and kind of if you want to go, you know, forward with trying to acquire him you know, knowing all the knowledge that I've kind of gained from my testing and what I shared in this video. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.